This standard is ARCH.8.E.C.8.A.8.3d. The learning target is I can understand that solutions to a system of two linear equations in two variables correspond to points of intersection of their graphs. The strategies we will use are these. The first one, if given two equations, set them equal to each other. Solve for x, then solve for y. That x comma y is the solution. In some cases, you won't be given two equations. You will have to start with strategy number 2. If given sets of points, either plot on a graph or find slope and y-intercept, also known as b. So let's look at that. Step 1. The point-slope formula for equation of a line looks like this. It says y2 minus y1 equals m times x2 minus x1. So let's walk through this. If you're given 2 points define a line. So I'm giving these points 2, 8, 4, 16. So let's go ahead and put 2, 8. So you go over 2 and up 8 and plot that point and label it. And the next point is 4, 16. You start at 0, 0, go over 4, and you go up 16. And you plot that point and label it. Now, after you're given 2 points, you can find slope by using this formula. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 will give you m, also equal to slope, which is the steepness of the line. So y2 is just the second y, 16, minus the first y, which is 8, all divided by the second x, which is 4, minus the first x, which is 2. So you're just trying to find the difference in the y's and the difference, meaning a subtraction problem, in the x's. So 16 minus 8 equals 8. 4 minus 2 equals 2. You can divide these each by 2. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Why did I divide by 2? Because I want 1 in the denominator. I always strive for 1 in the denominator. 4 over 1 is also equal to 4. The next step, step 2, input the slope from above to find b. So we have our slope. The slope-intercept formula, the intercept being b, which is what you're trying to find, will have these 3 filled in with a value. So I chose this point. You only need 1 point to move ahead. So 16 equals, the slope is 4, and then the x value here is 4 plus b. So we filled that in. 16 equals 16 plus b. So we need to take away 16 from both sides because we want to isolate the b. So we subtract 16 on the left side and 16 on the right side of the equal sign. 16 minus 16 equals 0. 16 minus 16, well, that's gone, but the b is still there. So we have b equals 0, or 0 equals b. Since b equals 0, the line goes through 0, 0. And if you see, If you connected those 2 points and drew a line, you would see that the line does go through the point 0, 0. So we go back to our steps. Plot the points on a graph and draw a line. We just did that. So when you write an equation of a line, you write it without an x and a y value. You make sure you have the slope, and you make sure you have the y-intercept. Step 4. Now we're going to do a second line. Follow steps 1 through 3 for these points. 0, 15, 7, 8. So we go over here, 0, 15. You plot that point and label it. And the other point is 7, 8. So we go over 7 and up 8. We put a little dot there to plot our point. We label it 7, 8. Now, the next thing we want to do is to find the slope. So we take y minus y, so 8 minus 15, divided by x minus x, 7 minus 0. 8 minus 15 is negative 7. 7 minus 0 equals 7. Negative 7 divided by 7 is equal to negative 1, and that's the slope. So we go to step 4, continued. I rewrote the points, and now we write the the slope-intercept formula to find B. We put in one of the x and y values. So here we have, I'm using the 7, 8. So we have y is 8. We said our slope was negative 1. We put in a 7 plus b. So let's solve for b. Solve for b. So 8 equals negative 1 times 7 equals negative 7 plus b. Now we're going to add 7 on both sides so that we can isolate the b. We have a negative 7, we're going to add 7. We did that on the right side, so we add 7 on the left side. 8 plus 7 equals 15 equals, these two got eliminated, so we're left with b. So we write this equation, y equals negative 1x, because our slope is negative 1, and then our b value is plus 15. So if you went back to your graph and you use a straight edge or a ruler to connect these 2 points and draw a line, you can see that your intercept here, your b value is 0, 15. So the last thing we want to do is to set the 2 equations equal to each other to find the solution to the system. So remember, we have this equation. So we want to remove the y, because this y equals 4x plus 0. So 4x, we don't need plus 0, is set equal to, we remove the y, negative 1x plus 15. Because we're saying this equation, y equals this, and the other equation, y equals this. So we're setting these two equal to each other, because they both equal y. So we're going to add an x to both sides of the equation. 4x plus an x equals all this plus an x, so that we eliminate the x and we're left with 15. Here we're left with 5x. If 5x equals 15, now we divide by 5 on both sides so that we can isolate x. 5x over 5 just equals x, because that is the number 1. It just cancels itself. And then 15 divided by 5 equals 3. So now we put x equals 3 in an equation and solve for y. So we use one of our equations and we write y equals, and we have our slope is -1, and we put 3 plus 15. Y equals -1 times 3 equals -3 plus 15. So what is -3 plus 15? It's the same thing as 15 take away 3, which is 12. So we go to our final step. The solution equals the point of intersection. So where both of those y's equal each other is at the point 3, 12, which we just found back here. Here's our 3, here's our 12. And you go back and look at the two lines where they cross each other, and you can see over 3 up 12 is correct. And that means the solution 3, 12 is the point of intersection, and we have accomplished our goal. And that is the end of this tutorial.